Now, let me begin with asking you a question. When someone asks you about the teachings of Buddhism, I think most of you will say Four Noble Truths. And this is because this is the core and fundamental teachings of Buddhism. And you could say that every teaching can be boiled down to this exact teachings, Four Noble Truths. So what are the Four Noble Truths? My name is Reverend Hirosato Yoshida, and I am a sotozen priest. If this is your first time, thank you for coming by. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. In this little series, I'll be going over our founder, Shakyamuni Buddha's life and his teaching. So the first of the Four Noble Truths is life is suffering. And number two, suffering is caused by craving and aversion. 3, there is a way to liberate from suffering. And 4, this path is called the Eightfold Path. So let me break down each of one of them for you, and we can go over it more in detail. So life is suffering. And you might think, no, my life isn't suffering because I have a beautiful wife, or I have a real good husband. I have hobbies that are so fun and exciting. I love to eat delicious food, etc. And probably thinking life can't be suffering all the time. And indeed, you might be correct that life isn't all about suffering. But what it means is that if you are living, there is going to exist 8 types of suffering and pain throughout your life. So, what are the 8 pain and suffering? 1 is birth, because you have no control over your birth. Where and when you are born. Maybe perhaps you're born here in the United States and you are having some, peaceful moments, but if you are born in the Middle East right now, they're at war, right? We don't have a choice where we are born. The second is aging. When you talk to elderly members or anyone, they're all gonna say, I wish I had the energy like you, Reverend, right? We all go through this. Even I eventually will age. Of course, provided that I can live long enough. But the point is, when you get old, we lose energy and we kind of get reminded of how good it was back when we were young. 3 is pain through getting ill. Right now, COVID-19 is a world pandemic. There's hundreds and thousands, millions of people right now suffering from that illness. And unfortunately, there are some that loses their life. But besides that, there's so many viruses and illness that's surrounding us in this world. And we're all caught in this together where we just can't control, and the pain we receive from these illness or sick. 4 is death or dying. We don't know what happens after death. We don't know what's gonna happen. It's a fear. We are scared of dying. And 5 is kind of related to the previous, but losing someone you love or special, whether that's through death or through some kind of separation, we fear of losing someone. 6, it's like having to deal with people or things you dislike. I'm sure there are 1 or 2 people at work, or maybe in your community, your neighborhood, that you just can't stand, right? But sometimes you just have to deal with that. And that's a pain, right? 7 is probably a lot of us here. We are unable to gain fame, money, or things you want or you crave. And you might think, money and all of that is not the most important thing in life. But think of it this way, we're always gonna have these moments where we wish we had something, we want something, and because we can't get it, we kind of feel that, why can't I have it? And that exactly is a little pain that we constantly feel when we are, for instance, shopping. And lastly is the fear of losing control of your body and mind. And I'm sure it's just simple as it's put, right? If we don't know if we can't control ourselves, what's life about, right? So all of these 8 are the basic suffering. And that's why on the first of it is, of the 4 Noble Truths, says, life is suffering. We are surrounded by suffering to begin with in this life. And this is not because we're being pessimistic, but just to realize that maybe perhaps I should say not suffering, but things that we have no control over. And that's why we might end up not having things done in a way we wish it would be done. And there may be different degrees of feelings, the pain, but just living each day, I'm sure you experience some sort of these pain. So what causes these 8 types of pain? And it's caused mainly by your craving and aversion. All your wishes and wants are causing you to feel the pain. For example, you wish you were born in a wealthy family. You wish you had the energy like you used to when you were young. You wish you had a healthy body. You wish you could just have just a little longer to see your grandson, great-granddaughter. You lose someone like your mom, dad, child, wife, husband, mentor. There's someone at work or neighbor that you just can't get along. Or there are things you just don't like frogs, cockroach, high places, dirty places. You have something you want but can't get it because you don't have the money or you don't have what it takes to get it. People won't listen to you because you lack experience. You can't have freedom because you are not famous, or vice versa. Maybe you're too famous that you can't have freedom. You may one day lose one of your 5 senses or become mentally stressed out. Right now, a lot of people are having stress because of the COVID-19. And I'm sure you can relate to one of these, or this kind of example from time to time, but all of them comes down to you yourself being controlled by your craving and aversion, or your feelings. So the Buddha goes on to say that there is a way for you to liberate from this suffering and continue to the last truth, which is following the Eightfold Path. So there you go. The 4 Noble Truths is life is suffering. The suffering that you have in your life is caused by your craving and your aversion. 3, there are true ways of getting yourself out of that cycle. And 4 is to follow the Eightfold Path. To start understanding how one can escape the suffering from this world, Siddhartha set out to figure out the cause of suffering. He realized that it was caused by one's own mind and conception. Thus, being able to act in a correct manner will help you liberate from those suffering. And he finds 8 essential ways to act and think, which are the Eightfold Path. In the next episode, I'll explain about the Eightfold Path and how the Buddha was able to liberate oneself from the 8 types of suffering that we just discussed in this episode. If you enjoyed or got something out of this episode, please hit the like button. They're right over there. And if you would like to see more of these content, please consider subscribing. Also, I have our temple homepage below. If you would consider making any donation, it's greatly appreciated and it can be done through the link below. I hope you have a safe and wonderful weekend, and I'll see you at the next episode. Thank you.